Hey guys, welcome back. I am out checking on things in the garden now that it stopped raining. The first part of the day was a little rainy and yucky out, but it has turned out to be such a lovely, cool day. Now that it has finished raining, the garden's loving the rain, and I was out doing a few things. So I thought I'd take you along for a really quick little garden tour, maybe like the first one of the season. We have some things growing that we've planted a month or so ago. Getting ready to plant a lot more things. I just made a trip to the Midnight Garden Center there and bought a few things like some strawberry plants that I'm excited to plant with you soon, and yeah, a few other things. And then it's just almost time to plant corn and tomatoes and cucumbers and squash and zucchini and beans. All those things are on my list of things to plant this week, so I'll take you along for that as well. But for now, let me show you what's already growing in our garden if you want to come with me. Alright guys, so here's what the garden looks like right now. It doesn't look very exciting. It's kind of the sad part of the fall, winter, early spring gardens is there's not really a lot of height or a lot of tall, extravagant, exciting things to look at, but there's actually still a lot going on here. It's just all lower to the ground. So I thought I'd take you along and let's go bed by bed and I'll tell you what is going on. Okay, so let's just start right here in the middle. I just have a bed of all types of leafy greens, sort of like my little salad bed here. Didn't have a lot else going on in the very early months, like early March, so I decided to just go ahead and plant leafy greens here. And then we had some cold weather. It stunted them a little bit, but they're all coming back very nicely. So I have some iceberg, I have some red romaine, we have spinach, Bloomsdale spinach I believe. This is a red wing mix, maybe some other, I think there might be some regular romaine mixed in there as well. And then I also have just some more iceberg because that's something we eat a lot of. And I like the look of the way that looked. So soon enough I'll be coming back and I'll be planting something else in between here, and this lettuce, all these greens will become more of a ground cover. Probably we'll come back and plant either like corn or okra, something that will grow up by the time it really gets hot out, offer some shade and some protection to these, but by then they may be ready to pull out anyway. We'll see, but that's what's growing right here for now. Let's go ahead and talk about that next garden bed that is like this. Each one of these beds are 12 feet long. I have 3 of these, so we'll go ahead and look at that other middle one. I have big plans for it, so let's go ahead and talk about it. Okay, so this one, it has some leftover brassicas of some sort growing in it. I'll leave them there for a little while, I guess. I don't know, I may end up pulling all of those up. These are actually not going to be living here, these teepees. Maybe one I'll let live in the middle of it, but they'll be getting moved to other the teepees will be getting moved to other beds. I was just putting them up here so I could clean all the old twine off of them, and so that they are standing up and not laying down on the ground, because they tend to rot faster if they're just laying on the ground. So let me tell you what my plans are for this. Okay, so I'm really excited about my plans for this bed. So like I said, I went to the Mennonites to buy a few things there at some of their pantry and places. I stopped in at their garden center. They had a really great deal on bare root strawberry plants. They were like $25 for $20 or $50 for $30. So of course I had to go with, I'm like, man, might as well get 50, right? And then I brought them home and I was like, now what am I going to do with those? I have a bed that is not in my garden at all, and that's where I thought about planting them. It's very hard to get a water hose out there, and so I don't think that that's what we're going to end up doing with those. I think that they're just going to come live right here in this bed. It is 12 feet long and it is 4 feet in length. So I'll be planting those strawberry plants in here, and then I'll be interplanting them with something else, and I'll tell you about that when I plant them. I'll probably be planting those tomorrow evening, and I'm going to make a video. So I'm excited to have an entire bed devoted just to strawberries, to fruit. Super excited about that, so can't wait to take you along, and we'll talk all about strawberries very, very soon, because those need to be planted ASAP. Okay, so that's the bed where the strawberries will go. And then this bed right here is also 4 feet wide, 12 feet long. I am going to, I'll turn around and talk about this one as well. I'm going to be planting for sure in this one purple whole peas. One of my best friends grows purple whole peas every year. They've invited us over for dinner a few times and eaten some of hers. So good. So, and I can't wait to try my hand at growing those myself. So those are going to be going here. Because they are a shelling pea, you need to plant quite a few in order to get a decent harvest. So I'm planning on using this entire space to grow those in. I'll be planting those very soon, probably this week as well, and I'll take you along for that as well. Okay, so that's that bed, and if we keep walking back here, we have this bed at the very end. This is my herb bed. As you can see, it's being taken over already. This is lovely oregano. It's ready for me to start harvesting. I'm going to come out and harvest quite a bit of this and go ahead and start drying that. We use a lot of oregano. I'm also going to be coming out and taking some cuttings from this, and we will be propagating that, as well as the mint here. I think this is chocolate mint. The smell is amazing. I wish that there was like smell-o-vision. Mint can be very invasive. It could very quickly and easily take over this entire bed, so I have to prune it back quite a bit. But I can propagate some of this as well. I'll also be drying a lot of this for use in teas, even just mint in your water, very refreshing. So I'll be using a lot of that for that, and also sometimes I make soaps. I think this could be possibly a really nice addition to that. I don't know, thinking about that. Over here we have sage. It is flowering right now, so I'll be able to save seed from that soon as well. Sage here, and then the sage has grown kind of wonky, but there's a bunch of it here, and it's all going to flower as well. So lots of sage. It's grown very tall and then kind of fallen over there. Have some more mint here. We have peas. I believe that these are snow peas that I planted back here. And we have this strange dude. So I had an onion, a really nice onion. It's stored over winter, and it started to sprout, like grow green out the top of it, and I decided, hey, I'll just go ahead and bring that on out here to the garden, and I'll let it go to seed so I can save some onion seed while I have an empty spot. So I put it here in this little herb bed, and this growth off the top of that will open up. It'll produce a flower, and I will be able to save onion seed from that flower. So there's that. We have some lemon thyme back here. I believe that this is a little bit right over here, maybe some parsley that's coming back, and then there's some more oregano here. So that is, and then I usually save this spot over here for some more parsley and dill, and then I'll work in over here somewhere some cilantro as well, and that is the basics of the herbs that I'll be putting in here for this year. Okay. So let me turn you around. This is the onion bed that we planted together. You can go back and watch that video if you have not already. These are looking good. And after that onion bed, we have 8 beds on this side. There are 8 beds on that side. There's also a bed of garlic over there. I have a couple of empty spots from my garlic here. I don't know if something like a bunny came in. My husband did tell me when he was mowing the other day that he saw that we had a rabbit in the garden. So I don't know. I actually don't know if that's what it is. The garlic took it kind of hard when we had the like 10 below weather, and I think it may have just actually killed a few spots. It's just right here, a little spot there, but the rest of the garlic is looking nice. There's all of those. Okay, so we have the 8 beds on that side and 8 beds on this side. This bed and that bed and that bed are all potatoes. And so let me take you over here. I'll show you these because these are growing a lot faster. These are all from seed potatoes that I saved from last year's garden. I actually saved the tiny little potatoes that they're so hard to like peel and whatever. I put all of those tiny little potatoes from the harvest last year to the side, saved those, and those all sprouted in February, and I planted them out here late February, early March, and they are looking very nice. We did have a little cold snap, and it killed back the tops of these potatoes. They weren't this tall at the time, they were half this size. Killed them back, but they all grew back. Potatoes can usually handle at least one freeze and they'll still come back, because under the ground where that seed potato is, it produces multiple sprouts, and there's usually some more sprouts under the ground that will not be damaged by the frost. So we have those. We also have that bed. Those two beds are also potatoes. This one's looking a little skimpy, so I did buy some more seed potatoes, and I'll be adding some extra ones to that one. Okay, we'll just go down this entire side and then we'll work our way back. These are snow peas. I actually just put my trellising in here. These grew like, literally felt like they grew overnight. I'll have this trellising here, and then I'll have twine attached in between so that these can trellis up it. But these are giant sugar snap peas, I believe is what they're called. I can't remember, but I know that they are a snow pea is what is growing there. Okay, here we have radishes on this side, beets on that side, and on both sides up against the trellis are little marble peas, and they are looking very nice. The peas send out these little tendrils, and they'll find this trellis. Eventually I may have to coax them a little bit. We'll push them over there, and they will grow about 3 feet up this trellis, and they'll produce lots of pods for shelling. These little marble peas will produce peas that are like what you would buy if you were buying frozen peas. It'll be that type of pea. Then over here, lots and lots of radishes. So many radishes. These are French breakfast radishes, and they look amazing. Look at these. These are definitely ready to harvest. Look how nice those are. Very pretty. On the other side we have bull's blood beets. Those are just starting to grow. That is what's right here. More peas. Okay, so behind me right here is the next bed, and it was kale and spinach. This kale and spinach, I planted it in early fall last year. It has grown all through the fall, all through the winter, survived the really cold weather, and now it is, whenever it got up into like the 80s about 2 weeks ago, that caused it to bolt. So this is like its second season of growing. It is bolting, and that means it is going to go to flower. These flowers will turn into seed pod. We'll leave behind seed pods, and that is how you will save, how you can save seed from like your kale, your spinach. This is also, same thing happens with most brassicas like cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, most things of that nature. They will send up these nice, pretty little flower shoots, and then after the flower petals fall back, it is left behind as a seed pod that will grow and mature, and then eventually you'll be able to save seeds from those. So you can tell that does take up a lot of garden space. However, I don't really have anything here that I need to plant in this specific bed. This is actually going to be a sweet potato bed. Can't plant that till mid-May. These will have produced their seed pods, and they'll be ready to harvest by then. So it's going to work out perfectly. But pollinators love these beautiful little flowers. It's bringing those pollinators in early, getting them used to coming to visit the garden. And I'll show you up close exactly how the seed saving thing works in the beginning stages. They're not ready to seed save from yet. So that'll be a video later on. I'll show you what these look like. And maybe there's some bees there were earlier. They love these flowers. Okay, so these are the nice little flowers. These are actually edible if you wanted to eat these shoots, like this right here. This is a Scotch blue curled kale, something like that. I may be saying it backwards, but this is a nice kale. The kale tastes kind of bitter, so will the spinach if you try to harvest it right now. But instead of eating the kale, you can eat these. These almost taste like a broccoli. You can saute it. But I'm just going to leave it all behind and let these all produce lots of kale seed for me. So they start out like this and they're not open, then they open into flowers. And then eventually the petals start to fall back. And I'll show you right here. Here's one where the petals have all started to fall off. And in the middle here, this right here, these little guys, those are tiny immature seed pods. Those will grow to be quite a bit longer. They will fill up with seeds, and then all of this will turn brown, and the seeds will dry inside of this, and that is how you will save seeds. Okay, so so imagine how many seeds can come from all of these gorgeous flowers. So totally worth it. I put one seed in the ground. Got this amazing kale plant that is huge, and we've harvested a ton of kale from all winter. And then it goes to seed and will produce hundreds and hundreds of seeds to give me back. Isn't that amazing? All right, then we also have spinach here. This spinach has not went to seed yet, so I'm still harvesting some off of it. This spinach has started to go to bolt, and so is this one. This one's getting ready to, as it is taller. It's growing out all of this, so those will get seed saved from as well when it is time. And then after I harvest the seeds, whatever's left of this plant, I will pull all these up and give those to the chickens and goats, and they will love it. Okay, so moving on, we are here. We have some leafy greens here. I believe that this is, it's some type of green, maybe a mustard green. Those are all growing very nicely here. I'll actually just have to look up these leaves and figure out exactly what it is. Oh no. I'm glad I bent down here. Look at this, guys. Ants are everywhere this year. It's miserable. I have to get in here and stir these up and pour hot water on that to get rid of those. But we also behind that have more little marvel peas. On the other side of the trellis we have the exact same thing. More little marvel peas. They're just so lovely. Isn't that just lovely? And then more leafy greens. This bed we have snow peas, which are like the long thin pods that you get in like salads and stir fries. That's what these will be. The rest of this bed is empty right now. I'm about to plant purple broccoli. Those will be going, I bought that yesterday from the Midnight Garden Center. I'll put one of those in each corner. And then this bed will not be needed till the mid of May whenever we plant out sweet potatoes. So that's what's going on there. Over here, then we also have more peas. You guessed it, lots of peas. For these early spring crops, peas are really important. And on the other side, we have peas and lots of radish. And these look amazing. Look at these. These are ready to harvest. They're looking great. They're loving this mulch. It's growing wonderfully. You see in there? These radishes are growing very nicely. These are just gorgeous radishes. Look at that. Look how perfect that is. These are all came from seedcatalog.com. They grow all heirloom seeds. So, yeah, lovely. And those continue all the way down through there. Then we have our peas behind them. Okay, that's gotten us down this whole entire row of these beds. Let's move over, talk about these, and then we'll be done. Okay, so for this bed, we have the same exact thing that I just showed you one bed before, and that is beets that are growing lovely right there. We have peas. And then I only have a few of my rainbow Swiss chard. When it got cold, I think it killed it back. So we have a few lone survivors right there. So there's that. And then in the middle here we have some brassicas. These also have been kind of stunted by it being cold out. There's a few decent sized ones in there. But this bed, once again, will be a sweet potato bed, and it will not be being used till mid-May. So hopefully these guys, with the warm weather and plenty of rain, they're gonna perk up and grow faster, and will produce something. This is all broccoli. Well, there's actually a few cabbage in here where I had to replace some of the broccoli that did not grow, but like there's a cabbage. It's kind of small. I don't know if it'll make it or not in time, but the rest of this is broccoli, and the mulch that is down here, as you can tell, has a lot of rabbit droppings on it. We use mulch. We mulch our beds with the pine shavings that come out of our rabbit cage. Rabbit manure is a great manure to use when putting it. You can put it directly on your garden. It's not a hot manure, so it doesn't have to be composted. You can just go directly on here. And the pine shavings are definitely keeping our soil nice and moist, and the plants seem to be loving it. And within a few weeks, that the rabbit manure will be broken down totally, and you won't even know that it is there. Okay, so over here we have 2 cabbage that are also going to seed. They are producing flowers that will turn into seed pods, just like the kale I talked about earlier. This cabbage was also planted early fall last year. This is its second growing season because they are also biennials. The second season of growing is when they will send up their shoots and flower and go to seed. So I'm letting those grow for now so that I can save their seed, and that is our early Wakefield cabbage. And then we also have some peas that are growing along the trellis. And that is all that's growing there. We'll be putting tomato plants into that bed shortly. Okay, so over here, I just realized, looking how crooked my row of carrots are right there. I don't know what happened, but we have carrots, and we have broccoli, and we have carrots, broccoli, carrots. So the broccoli and carrots are purposely, I put them underneath the shade of this tree here. So I don't think that this broccoli will be as likely to bolt as quickly. Hopefully that'll all come to harvest. And by the time it's harvested, I can cut that back, and the carrots will be growing. They'll be able to get growing even more and be able to harvest them as well. By then we'll be into late May, early June. And I can come back and plant something else in here, maybe another bed of potatoes, or I can come back and sow another sowing of carrots. So that is what is going on here. Check out those little baby carrots. Alright, so let's move to this bed. This one has something interesting I want to take a minute and talk about, and that is these carrots, which obviously are substantially larger than those carrots. Alright guys, so these carrots were growing in fall last year. I could have harvested them and eaten them and enjoyed them, but instead I chose some of my nicest looking, what seemed to be the biggest, fastest growing carrots out of this entire bed of carrots, and I marked them to save them and not harvest them because I wanted to seed save some of my carrots. So these are Danvers carrots. That's an heirloom variety. They will be the only ones that are going to be growing seed heads, so I don't have to worry about them cross-pollinating with anything. And so yeah, they will grow. They'll probably outgrow like this thing. I have this just to put on as a cover in case I need it to keep bugs out or whatever. I just made it with some extra PVC pipe we had around. So far I haven't needed that. The bugs aren't here yet though. The pests haven't arrived yet. It hasn't been that warm. But these will grow up really tall, probably 3 or 4 feet tall. Then they'll put on these huge flowers that look very lacy, very pretty. They'll be like as big as my hand or bigger. And then from that I will be able to save seed, carrot seed. In case you've ever wondered, where does how in the world do you get carrot seeds when all you ever usually see is just a root? That is how. Carrots are also biennials, and so they will only produce seed in their second season of growth after going through a cold spell. And so that's what's going on here. And the rest of this bed is just some extra lettuces that I had when I thinned out my lettuce bed that I showed you in the very beginning. I moved them over here. It's nice and shady over here underneath this tree behind me, so they'll be able to grow probably for a lot longer than the ones out there in that full sun bed. So as you can tell, those are my carrots, and then these are different lettuces. I just transplanted those out. Lettuce, spinach. I don't know what that is. That's another carrot that I'm saving seed from. the little green and red dotted along here and there, those are the lettuces that I planted in here, and hopefully those will hang out here a lot longer since this is a very shady spot. So the last bed that we haven't talked about yet is that one, and it's just a bed of just carrots. Those are growing happily over there. Let's see if we can zoom in here. Some nice little carrots over there. Alrighty, and that is it. The other two beds that I showed you behind there, those were just potato beds. We already talked about those. Okay guys, so that is it. That's what we have growing right now. It doesn't look like a lot, but actually there's a lot of food already growing in here. And like I said before, we'll be putting in our tomatoes next week. We're probably going to plant in green beans this week, peas, purple whole peas this week, strawberries definitely, probably tomorrow. I'll make a video on that. And several other things along the way in the next week or two. So stay tuned for plenty more gardening videos. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. See you next time.